how can I find good service providers in Canada? It's a question that we get a lot. If you're not born in Canada, but you now operate a business here, this is the place for you. Click here the subscribe button, set up the alert. And if you like this video, click the like button here for us, okay? So there is one phrase that you will hear a lot in Canada. And it's funny how these sayings a lot, they're just automatic. We just hear, we don't think about it. But some of them are very strong. So let me give you an example. In Portuguese and Spanish, right, the two languages from South America, you talk about win money, receive money. So it's kind of a passive way of thinking about money, right? You do something and somebody gives this money to you. Compared to, for example, in the English language, where you say you make money, right? Which is a very active thing. It's by your own actions that you're making the money and not like you're gaining that money from somebody. So never think too much about these kind of things, but things are very ingrained. There's a second one, which is the topic of this video here today, which is you get what you pay for. That is a very interesting one because even there are some languages that you don't see a direct translation of that. And the reason here, it's like I want to talk about these two sliding scales, one next to the other. In many cultures where you do not have a lot of trust in the society, where you have low trust in society, somebody gives you the price here, and it's like, the first thing that comes to your mind is not necessarily, wow, they're going to deliver this value to me. They give me this price and like, okay, they're trying to cheat me on this. They're trying to screw me. They're trying to whatever, what corner they're trying to cut. Then I go and I offer something here. And then they drop the price here. And then I offer here, whatever. And then you close more. This is a consequence of initial lack of trust. I don't trust that you really need to charge me that number. And the other guy's like, I don't trust that that's the only thing you can pay me. So nobody trusts anybody and you are in this dance. However, when you have this idea of you get what you pay, look how the brains are wired completely different in the background. Okay, this is I'm going to pay. I'm going to get this. Symmetry, right? I'm going to receive the value that is symmetrical with the amount of money I'm paying for it. Therefore, if I don't want to pay this amount, if I only want to pay this amount, I will accept the fact that I will receive a lower value that is compatible with what I'm paying. So this is the sliding scale of what you get, what you pay means. And see how this affects pricing strategies for somebody who was born and raised in an emerging market and is trying to do business in Canada. Like, oh, look, what's the funny thing? If I start my conversation about how cheap my product is, I only charge this. What did I do automatically? In the brain of the other person that's talking to me, I already threw the value down here and say, hey, what I sell doesn't have great quality because you get what you pay, right? So if the first thing I'm talking to you is about cheap prices, you're going to be, okay, guess the quality isn't that great, but we'll see. So you have to be really careful coming back. If you are from an emerging market trying to do business in Canada, it's very appealing, especially part of what you produce, you still use the cost from back home, which may be cheaper, right? Labor costs or whatnot. And say, hey, buy from me, and it only costs this. Automatically in the brain of a Canadian is going to go, okay, lower quality. So you have to be really careful not to negotiate against yourself and leave money on the table here. So we need to talk about quality first, right? We need to have this symmetry because that's how Canadians work. Like back home, somebody's charging me this, well, they're lying to me, right? They can actually be charging me that and I'll be getting the same value. So we will always go for the cheapest and whatever, try to hustle this price as low as I can because that's a product of a low trust society, right? If you are in a high trust environment where you have the symmetry between the value and the price, it totally changes the pricing strategy. Back home, you may have the impression that somebody's not doing much and just charging you for the money. Like here, it's not, right? It's like people will accept that idea of symmetry. If this seems a little complicated, you may be thinking, okay, I understand the concept, but what does it have to do with anything in my day-to-day? Well, that's why we have our platform, Your Business in Canada. Click here, the link in the description, so you can join a group of like-minded people like you that are also foreign-born business people in Canada, and they are in this journey to grow their business in Canada, and we are there to help you along the way. So what goes wrong then, and how do we fix that, right? And we're talking, remember, specifically about, can I find good service providers in Canada? So this is what happens. People hire a service provider, and suddenly they don't trust already. They got an invoice, they're screwing me. They're charging me too much. They're not delivering me the service. And again, if you agree to pay for something, people are going to deliver what you agreed to. So it's important to read that engagement letter that you receive in the beginning from your supplier, from your service provider, because that's where you're going to find what they agreed to provide to you. Not what you thought they should agree. You say, oh yeah, I signed. I was in a hurry. I didn't even pay attention, but I signed but of course I meant that. Well, I have to be really careful. What you sign, what's in writing is what is valid. So you have to read the proposal. You have to ask questions, get clarity about, okay, what about this? What about that? And then you sign. And adapting to what you want compared to the original proposal that you received is going to have cost. They say, yeah, I signed that, I agree to that, but actually now I need this other thing too. And they should know, because of course, if somebody is asking for this, they're also going to want to know. If it wasn't written, they shouldn't know, and you shouldn't expect. So it's really important to read your contract in detail, to know what you're paying and know what you're receiving, because you may be paying for a bunch of stuff that you don't care. Say, but their product said they're going to issue this report. I don't need any of this. I just need this, and this they're not giving me, and now they're charging me more to deliver that. Well, what do you agree for? What do you agree with? What did you agree to pay for? You need this clarity about, okay, my supplier is going to supply to me, my service provider is going to provide to me exactly what I need, but I need to tell them what I need. Therefore, I need to have planned for what I'm going to need, right? They say, but it's impossible. How do I know what I need ask them to clarify. Say, hey, have you had a client like me before? How is their typical journey? What do they typically need? What is that they can do to make your life easier so that this bill doesn't get too expensive? Like, we need to work with the supplier in this trust relationship, remembering that if we are paying up here, we should expect him to be receiving. But if you want to pay here, you're only going to be receiving this. And sometimes, guess what? Sometimes you only need this. So why did you agree to sign a proposal, an offer that was delivering a bunch of stuff you don't need? So if all you need is this, and the proposal has way too much stuff that you don't need, ask them. But upfront, not after you signed it. Ask them, say, hey, listen, great proposal and all that, but it looks like I have all this stuff that I don't need. So what about you give me a proposal for this price and delivering only what I need? Because that the supplier understands. They understand that by reducing scope, they should charge less. And then you're not questioning anybody's honesty, because it's very uncomfortable. This situation I see every day. Somebody foreign-born is doing business in Canada. They hire a Canadian service provider, and here's the price. And this is what was promised to deliver. But in reality, whoever hired wants this or something else or out of the scope. And then they try to wrestle and say, yeah, but they charge me that, they're not doing what I asked, and blah, 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 or the timing is not right. So it's important to understand what you are agreeing to receive before you make a commitment to pay. Here's another situation I see the bills and the payments you have to make to service providers really get out of control, get out of hand, is when you didn't know what your plan was when you're hiring that. You say, like, well, yeah, I knew I needed like an accountant. I knew I needed a lawyer, but you know what? I didn't do much of the homework. I didn't have time. I mean, they're part of my advisors, right? They're the ones that are supposed to tell me. No, they only come with their sectoral expertise to provide specifically what you need. But the overall plan of what you're going to do, you need to come with the plan. And yes, you ask for feedback along the way. But you say, no, Marcelo, hang on a second. That's not how it works. How do I know what plan I'm going to have if I don't have the input from my providers? Well, that's kind of putting the cart ahead of the horses a little bit, right? It's like you cannot expect your providers to build the plan for you, right? You have to build your plan and then surround yourself with advisors to provide their specific expertise. You are the project manager of what you're doing, not them, right? They're gonna only provide that specific expertise to you at the right time with the right scope. And say, well, but how do I know what I'm going to need if I don't know? Well, that's why you go to information interviews. And you can have information interviews even with service providers, with other people that did the same thing before you. Like, have a plan, have a clarity of plan, do your homework, leveraging free resources. Canada is the land of the how-to guide. You go on Google, and in these days you go on ChatGPT, and you can do tons of research and understand about your journey and build at least a skeleton of your plan, so that when you go in front of your service provider and say, this is what I'm trying to do, and I need your expertise to help me accomplish that from the standpoint of your technical expertise. And then you bring the other expert, but you build the plan. And if there are doubts along the process, you need to present your needs and doubts clearly. Typically have a meeting, discuss, but then summarizing bullet points. Say, hey, this is what I understood from our meeting, that I need to do this by this date, I need to do this by this date, whatever, and you're going to work on this and you're going to do it. Great. Document that in an email, and then everybody's happy. Everybody knows what it is. You need to know the plan, clarity of your plan. You need to present your needs and doubts along the way clearly, and then you will pay for what you get only, right? You're not going to pay more, but you're not going to receive more than what you paid for. So there's this symmetry, implicit symmetry of the pay what you get, and that affects tremendously your relationship with your service providers in Canada. There are 2 more videos here that are useful in this journey for you.